Hello and welcome back to Exothermic Plays Games. I'm Exothermic and I've been doing a daily countdown of my 366 favorite video games of all time. Coming in at number 22 is Doki Doki Literature Club. Earlier in the year, I'd occasionally have some fun texting my twin brother with an out-of-context clue about my rankings. My favorite one I sent him was, not only did I rank a visual novel higher than the first Mass Effect, it's almost 2 months higher than it. The purpose of doing this was because I knew it would bother him. I was correct. Doki Doki Literature Club is straight up, through and through, a visual novel. There's no other gamified elements other than one little thing at the end, and there's no hidden combat mechanic as a joke or anything like that. There's a story, you click next, occasionally you get to make a dialogue choice, and that's basically it. It's also one of the greatest video games ever made. This video will have all of the story spoilers, and due to this game's genre, it's literally impossible to talk about mechanics or what makes it good without spoiling absolutely everything. To be as vague as possible for people not wanting all of these spoilers, it's a psychological horror game about how depressing literature becomes depressing plot devices, and the game messes with you as a player on an impressive psychological level with memorable characters and some really clever bits of coding. Know that what comes next contains some extremely graphic depictions of violence and self-harm, so unless you're actively looking to avoid that, this is a game that I think absolutely everyone should play. If I've somehow convinced you with this vague explanation of what's going on and want to avoid spoilers, turn off the video now. Alright, we're still here? Cool. You are a high schooler in Japan who begrudgingly joins a literature club that his childhood friend Sayuri has roped him into. It turns out he's only the 5th member, joining Sayuri, Yuri, Natsuki, and as president of the club, Monika. The game starts off writing poems and reading them to each other. It's just a simple sequence of selecting words to put together themes for your poem, but what you select isn't really important at all, but it is a fun little thought process. As the days go by, you learn more and more about these characters, and some of the themes of their poems are like, I think they may be struggling in their life a little. There's definitely some kind of sad, lonely ideas, or they're struggling with their peers, or at home, or with school, or there's definitely something there. But you start preparing for the school festival over time to put together a presentation to help convince people to join the literature club. You can spend time with some of the girls, and Yuri or Natsuki will even attempt to make a move on you. Despite the stereotypes sometimes associated with visual novels, this is not that kind of game, and the adult content here is of a different nature. Sayuri, your friend, has a mental breakdown after school one day and tells you about how depressed she is all the time, and her cheery attitude is just a front so that others don't worry. The day after she catches you with whichever girl was flirting with you, trying to kiss you, she doesn't go to school. Monika shows you a poem that Sayuri had submitted, thinking about how there was someone inside her head, and she would do anything to get them out. You rush out of school to go to Sayuri's house and find her corpse hanging from her ceiling. This is the first death of Doki Doki Literature Club and the turning point for the game. As the game gives you a narrative ending, you're encouraged to start again. However, this time, Sayuri isn't in the story at all. You're going through all the same story beats of joining the literature club, writing the poems, reading them to each other, preparing for the school festival, flirting with Yuri and Natsuki, all the same. But Sayuri's just gone, as if she had never existed. But one jarring thing is that there's seemingly bugs with the game, like dialogue text that's messed up, glitchy art assets, and there's some extra things you learn from the poems that are different than last time. We learn that Natsuki is experiencing all sorts of physical and emotional abuse at home, and she doesn't know what to do about it. Meanwhile, Yuri is becoming increasingly infatuated with you and becomes outraged when Monika forces you to help her with the school festival instead of the others, confessing her love to you, and then repeatedly stabs herself to death. Natsuki returns to find this and, of course, starts freaking out. But you were there literally the whole weekend, frozen, paralyzed by fear or, just shock. You just stood there. But Monika is shockingly calm. She apologizes to you, and then the game resets again. When you start it up again, now the only thing there is Monika in the room. Nobody else exists. And there isn't even a world outside the classroom. She reveals she's been controlling everything this whole time, and she's fallen absolutely head over heels in love with you. No, not in love with your character, with you, the player. Unfortunately, my admin name on the computer for this was also exothermic, the same as the character name here. So the scary twist doesn't really happen, but there's a part where she starts addressing you directly and reads the computer files to ideally know your real name and uses it. It's wild. You can technically just talk to Monika forever. She'll just keep talking to you over time. Forever and ever and ever, making small talk, totally infatuated with you. She's deranged and honestly kind of terrifying. But what's not actually clear is how to get out of this, and you can get out of it. If you close the game and then navigate to the game's files, you can go to the character folder and then find that the only thing there is Monika. This is the kind of gamified element I was talking about, though not in the traditional sense. Delete the folder named Monika, then reopen the game. It opens to Monika again, but she starts disappearing and pixelizing and breaking apart, and truly panicking about you having deleted her. She seems to regain some semblance of sanity and recognizes the terrible things she's done. Then you could start the game over one more time. This time, all three of the other girls are back, but Monika is gone. Sayuri invites you to the club again, but she's the president. You're going through all of the motions again, but the game cuts to the chase pretty quickly this time. It turns out that something about being club president corrupts these girls, and now Sayuri is going insane and can see that she's a character in a video game and is obsessed with you like Monika. She also has omniscience of everything that happened before, including all of the horrible things that Monika did. Thankfully, the ghost or spaghetti code, or whatever you want to call it, of Monika returns, overrides things, deletes Sayuri, and then explains that the only way to break the loop is to delete everything, including herself. She sings you a song first as a sort of farewell, and then at the end of the game, everything is deleted, and you get an error if you try launching the game, making it totally unplayable, unless you uninstall it and reinstall it and start totally fresh, of course. Doki Doki Literature Club is a visceral experience, telling a story that would quite literally not be possible with any other form of media. In just a handful of hours, it brilliantly introduces these characters to you in a way that immediately makes them rather endearing, and then reveals humanizing flaws that makes you grow somewhat attached to them. The big tonal shift marked from Sayuri's suicide, if you don't know it's coming, is just so unexpected, but without feeling entirely out of place either, given the rest of the story. The impact of the deaths in these girls that you've only known for a couple hours is remarkable, actually, and the out-of-game elements, like the file management stuff to delete Monica and the mind-blowing use of knowing my actual name, is some of the most memorable moments of storytelling I've ever experienced in my entire life. And actually, you can do some of this out of order, making some unique changes. Like if you delete Monica's folder right away, Sayuri is promoted to club president early and totally freaks out upon the sudden realization that she's in a game and kills herself immediately, also deleting files, breaking the game like Monica does at the very end. I do want to touch on that as well. I think it's great seeing like there's a way to have character growth in all of this, and then Monica singing to you as the credits play is like a neat fourth wall break of suddenly having this character be voiced in a game that never did it before as a farewell, and it's done and it's written in the way that it's as if it's outside the game, right? Like the idea is that she's singing to you, the player, not singing just as, hey, here's something in the game. And it's wonderful, terrifying art. It's totally fucked up, but it's art nonetheless. You can join me tomorrow as I talk about my 21st favorite game, where I also mess with the timeline and kind of, sort of, not really, but kind of, kill myself, but in a more gamified manner.